let's say you want to practice a new habit, or there is something in your life you want to change, whether it's a physical habit, something you do, or it's a mental habit, the way you think. Maybe you want to practice mantras or affirmations, anything you want to change. And you do these new activities and then suddenly you stop doing them. What does this mean? Why does this happen? And why is it so important in those cases to always do your best? Also, what does that actually mean? What does it mean to do your best and never more? Quite essential. Well, let me tell you. Hi, I'm Miriam. Welcome to EI for Life. When you learn anything new, when you want to develop a new habit, no matter what it is, your nervous system first needs to get used to it. What this means is, let's say, something as simple as drinking from a glass of water. Now, you learned this when you were a child, but when you learned this as a child, your mind, your brain got lots of information. Just holding this up, doing this movement, all the kinds of information got from the arm, how to tilt it so you don't spill everything. So the weight of the glass, to deal with that, how to coordinate everything, how to coordinate your mouth so the water doesn't come running out again. Something as simple as drinking is actually incredibly complex. And while you drink a glass of water, even now, there's all kinds of information flooding your brain, flooding your nervous system. The reason why you don't notice any of this, why you can drink without even thinking about it, is because it's a familiar action, something you practiced again and again and again. Now, familiar actions for the mind, just for the brain, just mean the brain doesn't need to map it. It doesn't need to sift through the information. It doesn't need to decide what's important and what isn't, because it already knows. So when you learn something new, whether it's a new habit, maybe you want to go on regular walks, or maybe it is saying an affirmation over and over again. So whatever it is, this is new. It needs to use different parts of your body. It needs to use them in a different way. It needs to use different parts of your brain. It needs to use them in a different way. So these actions are simply unfamiliar. The nervous system needs to map them. It needs to look at all the information it gets back from the brain and from the body, and it needs to figure out what the information means. Now, the more familiar your new habit is to something you already do, the easier this mapping process is. The more different it is, the more overwhelmed you will feel at first. So let's say you never exercise and now you decide, I shall have a new exercise habit. I will go to the gym for an hour. Just three days a week. I mean, that's healthy. That's what everybody says. So I'm totally going to do that. Okay, that's your new habit. Now, you think to yourself, this is not a big deal because on paper it looks like not a big deal. But if your body is used to mostly sitting, then even just moving, even just going for a walk for 5 minutes already floods your nervous system with all kinds of new information. If you go to the gym for a full hour, that's a full hour of new information flooding your brain, flooding your nervous system. New. Where something like proprioception, where is your body in space? Interoception, what does this movement feel like? This is all new information, so your nervous system has to handle all of it. And if this is all completely new, if you're used to sitting and getting this kind of information all day long, and now suddenly there's all these kinds of movements about body parts you were not really aware of for years, then this needs to be mapped. Now, the best you can do means that at first you will do these things badly. So at first, when you learned how to drink water, you did spill. When you were a child, you spilled all over you. You had to focus and concentrate, maybe use both hands for the weight and whatever. So it took a while before that became automatic and easy. And that's normal. As adults, though, we kind of assume that it doesn't take that long to learn, but that's nonsense. It does, especially when something is completely unfamiliar. So, what does this mean? When you learn something new, then your body automatically does its best. Its best usually looks messy. It looks nothing like you think it would look. You will make mistakes. You will feel confused, maybe distressed. Maybe you will feel like you really don't want to do this again. That's perfectly normal. Now, what does this mean though when you really, really, really want to start a new habit? You need to allow yourself to do your best. You need to keep showing up. And because every single time you come back to the new habit, your nervous system gets a chance to become more familiar with it. Every single time it gets better at mapping what is happening, mapping at the different stages, the different areas. Now here is where it becomes really, really crucial. You gotta do your best and not a bit more, because your best is what you can actually handle, what your nervous system can actually handle. So the edge. That means, yes, you might feel distressed. Yes, you might do the exercises in a very sloppy way. However, you do not feel exhausted. You do not push. You never push. You have to be able to more or less relax as good as you can into the position, into the pose, even into the thoughts. If you feel resistance, if you feel like you're clamping up, even when you think new thoughts, that is a sign that this is too different to what you're used to. And when you push, what you're doing is you're overriding your nervous system. And that means your nervous system shuts down. You may not notice any of this. You may just feel exhausted and fatigued and really, really stressed. But the result is that your nervous system does not trust what you're trying to do. It labels the action, the 1 hour at the gym, as simply too much. And it will do everything in its power to make you not do it. You will start having all kinds of stories in your head about why this is not really necessary. You will have all kinds of stories about why exercise is not for you. You will literally forget to go. You will forget your gym stuff. You will forget, you might drive home and your nervous system switches you on autopilot, so you don't turn towards the gym. You just go straight home on autopilot. That is your nervous system protecting itself and protecting you. It has to. Because what you're trying to do is too much. So, it's important to always do your best. It's also important to figure out what that best is. Find the version of what it is you want to do that is a little bit unfamiliar, but feels okay. So, the way you know that it's okay is it might feel like a bit much. You will definitely not do it very well, but it feels kind of right, and you will not mind so much coming back to it. So you will be okay with doing it the next day. So what does this look like? How do you figure out what the easiest thing, the best thing you can do is? For example, with you want to exercise, but an hour at the gym might be a bit much. So you notice that you're simply not going. That's a big sign it's too much. If you feel fatigued after anything, you might even feel fatigued or confused or overwhelmed when you practice mental exercises, mindfulness or mindset exercises. And that's another sign this is too much. So give your body, just ask out loud if you want, or write it down in your journal, but just ask, what is it about this that is too much? Chances are the answer will come to you. It might be the exercise itself. So whatever it is you want to learn is just not right for you right now. That's okay. You find something else. Maybe the affirmation is not right for you right now. Find a different affirmation. Maybe going to the gym is not right for you right now. Find a different way of exercising, of moving. Maybe it's too much intensity. Maybe 15 minutes at the gym would be fine, but an hour is too much. maybe saying an affirmation twice is okay, but saying it 50 times is too much. So the best you can do is you're really the only person who knows what that is. And you gotta ask, you gotta figure it out. And you gotta allow yourself to really only do the best you can do. Allow your mind, your nervous system to catch up, to become familiar with what it is you want to learn. And the more you do it, so the more you actually ask and work with your nervous system, the more trust you build. And that is priceless. Because when you do this for a while, no matter what new thing you want to learn, you will get instant feedback and you will be able to read it. You will be able to understand the signals. I did a Kundalini class today, which was way too much, but I knew exactly, oh, okay, this is what happened. This is how much it was. This is why I felt overwhelmed. And I also immediately know, but it also felt right. So I'll be back tomorrow, and I don't expect to do better tomorrow. But I'm curious because I already know that my nervous system will map some of the things I did today, and they will not be so unfamiliar tomorrow. So now tomorrow I will get new information. And that is what learning really is. And that's why it's also important that when something feels right, you come back to it and do your best and not a bit more. All right. Have fun. And I will see you in the next video.